Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer.com. Today on our 2006 Honda CRV, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the Roadmaster Diode 7 to 6 wire Flexo-Coil Wiring Kit. To flat tire your vehicle, there's going to be 5 major components: your base plate, your diode wiring, a braking system, safety cables, and a tow bar. The wiring kit is going to transfer the lighting signals from the back of the motorhome here to the back of our CRV whenever we're flat towing, and that's going to keep us not only safe but legal. It's going to provide us with 4 different lighting functions. We're going to have our running lights, our brake lights, our left turn, and our right turn. Now, one of my favorite things about this kit is the fact that it uses diodes. Now, those diodes are going to protect our Honda's factory wiring if any shorts or anything like that were to occur. Now, in my opinion, this would be the best choice for a wiring option. Unlike some of the others, for example, the magnetic style, you're not going to have to worry about setting it up every time, draping wires over your car, and even sticking lights to your vehicle's finish. And the other option you would have would be the bulb and socket type. Now, once again, these definitely have an advantage because with these, you're not going to actually have to drill a hole into your vehicle's taillight housing, unlike the bulb and sockets. Now, the kit is going to come with not only a 6-pole plug, but a Flexo-Coil cord as well. The one end will have a 6-way, and on the other will have a 7. Now, what's nice about these is since they are coiled, we're not going to have to worry about them dragging the ground and getting damaged. However, when you do need them to stretch out, we'll have all the length we need. Now, the plug is a 6-way, and it does have a spring-loaded cap. That way, when we're not using it, it'll help keep out any dirt and debris and water. And when we are using it, it's going to be in this position. It's actually going to have a plastic tab that'll rest down onto our cord and help prevent it accidentally getting pulled out. Now, one thing I would recommend picking up as far as the installation goes is some dielectric grease. Speaking of which, the install is relatively straightforward. So let's go ahead and put it on together now. To begin our install, we're going to first need to open up our hatch. That way we can remove our taillights. Then on the inside of the taillight, at the very top here, we're going to have a plastic cap that we need to take off to expose a bolt underneath. Take a small flathead, pry up on that cap, and remove it. We're going to have one more here at the bottom of the taillight. And underneath, we'll take these bolts out. There's going to be one down here under this cap and one up top, and we're going to use an 8mm to do that. We can grab our taillight, we'll work it side to side, and if it doesn't come out immediately, one thing you can do is kind of take the palm of your hand and just give it a little tap towards the back. Now we can remove all of our lights. To do that, we'll grab the housing, spin it to the left about a 1/4 turn, and pull the light out. You can also work the wiring off of the clips on the light itself too. We just set the light off to the side for now. Now, to get the other tail light removed here on the other side, we're going to have a cap at the very top, just like the driver's side. Pop that off. Take out the 8mm bolt behind it. This one is going to be a little bit different. If you work our way down around our latch, we're going to have another 8mm screw. Once again, grab our light. So now we can take our bundle of wire and feed one end of it into the taillight pocket and push it down. And we'll work pretty much this whole length of wire down underneath the car. Now, I went ahead and determined which factory wires we're going to be tapping into for our diodes. And what I found was we're going to be using this bulb, the second one from the top right underneath our orange bulb here. And the two wires that we're going to be using are the green wire with the white stripe and the red wire with the black stripe. Now I went ahead and took off a little piece of tape here that was holding our two wires together just to give us a little more room to work. Now what we're going to do is cut these in half. That way we can connect some spade terminals to the ends of them. I'll take some snips, cut those in half. Then I'm going to strip back the insulation on each end of our wire. And now we can connect our terminals to them. We're going to be using the blue ones. We'll slide that over the wire and crimp it down. We're going to do that same thing for the three remaining wires. Now we can take our new wiring and separate all of them. So we'll just kind of snip the ends. We're able to kind of pull them apart from each other. Now what I'm going to do is pull these back far apart enough and actually cut a portion of this brown wire off. That way we can double up our wires on one of these connection points and actually run our brown wire from the driver's side to the passenger side. So you just want to make sure you peel off enough and kind of eyeball it over to the other side. That way we'll make sure it'll reach. Now we can strip back our yellow wire as well as our brown wire and the extra brown wire that we cut off and ran down earlier. Now these are going to get connected together, so it's not a bad idea to remove just a little bit more insulation to make it easier to twist them together. And what we'll do on our brown wires is take the yellow spade terminal, push it over, and crimp it down. And for our yellow wire, that's just going to get another blue terminal. Now we can grab one of our diodes, and what I like to do is use some dielectric grease and just put it on the terminals. That way it'll help keep them protected from any corrosion or anything like that. Now on the side that has a single terminal that says out, we're going to grab our factory wiring. We'll start with the green wire that's closest to the bulb itself. We're going to plug that into the out portion. The other two terminals, one will go to the other side of our factory green wire. Then we'll take our new yellow wire and put that on the last remaining terminal. Now for the other wires, what we're going to do is grab another diode, put some of that grease on it. We're going to take the single out portion on the red wire closest to the bulb itself and plug that in. The other side will go to the other end of our red wire. Then we're going to take our brown wires and plug them into the last terminal. Now we can take our white wire and peel some of this insulation back. And this is going to be our ground wire, so what we're going to do is crimp on a ring terminal. We're going to ground this to a metal part of our body. Now I'm just going to go ahead and ground it right here in our taillight pocket. Just want to make sure that it is clean, strong metal that we're attaching it to. And we're going to attach it using the included self-tapping screw. Now we can take our green wire, and since this will be getting ran over to the passenger side, we're just going to push that down in the taillight pocket and pull it out from the bottom. So now we can reconnect our lights and put our taillight assembly back in place. So these go in, just line them up and give them a quarter turn to the right, and that'll lock them in place. Now to secure our diodes, what I'm going to do is peel back the sticky paper and stick them together. And on the other one, I'll peel that paper back and secure it to our tail light. And then we can line our tail light back up, push into place, and re-secure it using the hardware that we took out earlier. Now I went ahead and ran our green and our brown wire over to the passenger side taillight pocket, and I just ran the wires up here behind our bumper cover. Now here's my green and brown wire that I ran up through our passenger side taillight pocket. Now the way I actually got it up through this opening from the bottom is I used a pole wire. I used just a piece of nylon air tubing. However, you could use a coat hanger or even another thick piece of wiring you have laying around. But so from the top, I pushed that down into the opening until it dropped out of the bottom. Then on the bottom side, I just taped my wires to the pole wire, lifted it up, and that's how I fed them through. Now we can wire up our terminals on our passenger side wiring. So I'm using that same bulb, that second bulb from the top, and again we're going to be using the green and white wire as well as the red wire with the black stripe. So we'll cut those in half and strip all of the ends back. Now on each end of our wires, we're going to crimp on one of these blue terminals. And we can do the same thing for our green and our brown wire. Now we can hook up our diodes. Once again, put some grease on the ends. And we're going to start with our factory green wire closest to the bulb itself. Take our diode, the single side that says out, plug into there. Take our other factory green wire, push it into the inside. Then we're going to take our new green wire and connect it to the last remaining terminal. Grab our other diode, connect the red side closest to the bulb onto the out portion, to the other side of our factory red wire, and finally our new brown wire goes to the last one. Alright, now we can plug all of our lights back into the tail light itself. And again, then we can secure our diodes the same way we did the other side. And push our light back in and re-secure it using the factory hardware. Now I went ahead and ran the rest of my wiring up to the front of our car and into the engine compartment. And here's the path I took. Along this beam here, up and over our rear suspension. Now you do want to make sure to avoid any moving or excessively hot parts. And it comes down right up in here. We'll follow that along the side of our fuel tank. I came in front of our fuel tank and securing everything with zip ties. I just followed our brake lines. And up along our firewall, there's actually a factory wire loom. I know it can be kind of tricky to see, but I secured it to there. And the way I actually got my wiring up into the engine bay to start with is I used the pole wire technique, just how we did on the tail light. So I brought my wire up, and there's actually a little plastic case here with our factory wiring in it. I just pushed our new wiring up through there. Came up here into the engine compartment, and I actually gave myself a little extra wire because we are going to be installing a braking system. So if you're going to have to tap into this wiring, give yourself plenty of wire to work with here under the hood. I ran it down along our battery And it came out through this crack here in front of our radiator. And then I just secured it to the bottom of our base plate with a zip tie, and now we can hook our end up. To hook our 6-pole end up to our wiring, we're first going to separate the wires from each other. We'll snip in between them and just pull back each wire a couple inches. Then we can strip the insulation off and twist our wires tight. Our kit does come with the bracket, and we're going to be using ours. If you plan on using yours, now you would put that on over your wires. Then there's going to be a rubber cap that'll slide on the back of our plug that we need to put over our wires next. Now on the back of our 6-way plug, we're going to have some terminals that are marked accordingly, and there's going to be some set screws that we're going to need to loosen up. That way we can put our wire inside and tighten them back down. So we're going to do this one, which is GD for ground. We're going to have LT, which will be for our left turn. Going to also be using this one here, which is RT for right turn. And also this one here, which is marked TM for our taillights. So put a little bit of grease over each end of the wire and hook them up to our connector. So we'll start with the green wire, which will be our right turn. So we'll put that in the RT and tighten that set screw down. We'll use the yellow wire for left turn. And we'll repeat that process for the brown and white wire. The brown wire will go to TM for our taillights, and the white wire will go to GD for ground. Once you have them all connected, it's a good idea to take some more dielectric grease and just blob it all over our terminals to help keep them protected. We can take our rubber cover and push it on to the back of our plug. I went ahead and wrapped up a little bit of our wires and our rubber cap with some electrical tape just for a little added protection. Now with everything wired up, it's a good idea to test it to make sure everything's working properly. Now I'm going to be using a tester. However, if you don't have one of these, you can just hook up to your motorhome. We can go ahead and check our running lights, our left turn, our right turn, and our brake lights. And that'll do it for our look at and our installation of the Roadmaster 7 to 6 wire diode wiring kit on our 2006 Honda CRV.